Just the Thought podcast. We're back with another one, guys. I'm your host, Ray Swaby. We got a special guest in the building. Before he introduces himself, though, I'm going to just say some things. He is a YouTuber, TikToker, a Facebooker, guys. Also an author. He has his own wrestling encyclopedia out right now. Also, he has a series of coloring books, which we're going to be talking about. Also, he is most known for his pro wrestling collecting items, right? I heard, bro, I heard you have over 10,000 pieces, but we'll talk about that. Yeah. Bro, but you guys can go follow him on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. On Threads, you can follow him wherever. Fig Heel. Yes. So let's talk to him. Hey, Fig, what's up, man? Welcome to the show,
brother. That's a hell of an intro, man. My man he did his homework. He hit like every point, man. That was impressive. Very impressive. It's funny, man, because I've gone on like podcasts and like they'll like ask me like, oh, so like, what do you want me to say? I'm like, well, you asked me to be here, like, you know.
Right.
It's your show, man. I'm here to join you. You run the thing, and we're gonna chop it up. You know what I mean? You did a great job there, brother.
Of course, man. Of course, bro. I told you off air, man. This is pretty much like, bro. I have been a wrestling fan since I was born in '92. I'm lucky enough that my mother and my grandmother watched wrestling. So right out of the womb, people started watching Barney, right? Yeah. I went to WWF, now WWE. So I've been a fan all my life, bro. And just to see somebody that brings out the child in me, bro, like to get you on the show, and like you have a crazy content, bro. Like you have so many collective items. I used to be not a toy collector, but I have a lot of wrestling toys growing up, bro. And just to see that you collect them, you kept that childlike in everybody alive, bro. So that's why I was just like, yo, I got attracted to your channel, right? And then your knowledge for wrestling, how much you know. So, bro, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Fig Heel once again, bro. So you have over 10,000 pieces. How many pieces of collecting items do you have of wrestlers?
Dude, so that number is old, and I'm at a point now, like I have more stuff. People don't believe this, but I have more stuff in storage than I do actually displayed. And if you look at like my rooms, because I have 2 collection rooms now in my house, they are stacked, bro. They're like, it looks like everything's there, and it's like it's not even scratching the surface. There's even collections that I love, like lines of figures that I love, and I'm starting to like decrease the amount that I display just because, like, you know, real estate's important, and I want to be able to display. When I look at my collection room, I'm like, I want this to be kind of like a museum, right? To tell a story, like a history of wrestling figures. So that's really where the TikTok thing comes in, where I'm like, where people ask me, oh, do you have this figure? Do you have this figure? And sometimes be like, oh, you don't have this. And I love that because people think just because they can't see it on the shelf that we don't have it. And like, dude, I would say like 9 times out of 10, I do. And I hate those. I love and hate those because then I have to go dumpster diving and go in through all my totes, and I have to find like all these like specific figures, put them out, and then shoot the video. And sometimes that takes the longest time. But man, this really comes down to, this is like you said, this is my childhood. You know what I mean? This is our childhood. And I think that everybody brings their childhood with them. I bring it in toys. I see dudes at the gym jacked. You know, they got the girl, people you wouldn't think, but they're coming in rocking Power Ranger shirts. Yeah. They're coming in rocking Super Mario because we bring our childhood with us all in different ways, right? Whether it be the car that you drive, the shirt that you wear, you know, the cup you drink from. We all hold on to things from our childhood, right? And this is just the thing that I held on to, and in a little bit more of an obsessive manner, I would say. And I'm not afraid to say that because I do have like way more toys than anybody should ever have. And it's just something that I love, man. Like I as a child, I remember my dad used to be a tow truck driver, and I would have to go with him when I was a little kid. And he picked up this car from this place, and the woman that we were picking up the car from, she had a son. And so, you know, like I get out of the car, I'm talking to him, playing. He's like, "Oh, you should come see my Ninja Turtles." He brought me into his room, and he had all of his Ninja Turtles, like the whole toy line, like just like displayed beautifully on his walls. And I remember in that moment, I was probably maybe 7, 8, and I said, when I get older, I'm gonna have a house and I'm gonna have a room with all my wrestling figures, and I'm gonna display them. Now, I didn't know to the capacity I was gonna display them, you know what I mean? Because at that time,
you had a vision already.
yeah, man. So people are like, "Oh, when did this start?" I'm like, "Dude, this started at birth." And like you said, man, I wasn't watching Barney, bro. I wasn't watching cartoons, man. I was watching WWF, WCW. Dude, I was watching Terminator because my dad was a fan of that stuff. You know what I mean? And I like most people, like, you know, you look up to your dad, your mom, you the grown up in your life, and that's who I looked up to. And I was like, man, he likes wrestling. This is awesome. Terminator, this is awesome. Commando, like all these action movies. I really wasn't raised on like the typical kid entertainment.
Right.
And
I mean, I had a little bit, but wrestling was more impactful.
Yes, definitely. I did too. Like Toy Story came, I was obsessed with Toy Story.
Of course, you have your classics, of course.
Yes, but I lean towards like the real people entertainment, and wrestling was like a mismatch of that, right? It's almost, they're animated, but they're real people. They're superheroes, but they're real people, man. Like, and I love that. I loved it so much.
Let me ask you this: who was that first wrestler to make you love wrestling? For me personally, and I go back and forth because, you know, I going back and forth of who is my favorite wrestler, right?
Yeah.
It's usually a three. It's usually Undertaker, Bret Hart, or Stone Cold.
Yeah.
But I think the person that really made me love wrestling was probably Stone Cold.
So I'm gonna agree with you there. So Stone Cold he's my GOAT. And I don't care what anybody says. I do not see me ever thinking anybody else is the greatest of all time. That is my dude. He always will be my dude. And yes, like I always loved wrestling my whole life. So I was born in '88. So I grew up in like the golden era. You know what I mean? With Hulk Hogan,
the Attitude,
Macho Man. And then when I hit like, you know, 9, 10 years old, that's when the Attitude Era started. And I was like, Stone Cold, this is different. This is life-changing stuff right here, man. And yes, that is when I completely fell head over heels in love with wrestling. Was Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Taker, DX. I mean, it was on fire, and I truly believe it'll never be at that level again.
Unfortunately, not.
But hey, man, that's a constant thing of debate. Some people look back and they're like, "Oh, that era sucked." Like if you go and watch it back, it sucks. I watch that shit back. It is great.
Yeah, it's amazing, bro. Until this day, I want to thank Netflix, by the way, because I think that was a great move by Netflix to have WWE on there.
It's got a taste of Attitude, don't it?
Yeah, it's got a taste of it. Yeah, and it's like you get to enjoy that because now I get to go back and I get to watch Monday Night Raw from 2000, right, or 1999. But bro. I don't know. It's the greatest entertainment, I think, and I think when you understand that it's more than just wrestling, I think you understand like how great it is. You know what I'm saying? And to me and you, man, it's more than just wrestling. It's everything that fulfills what you want as a kid, and for us as adults as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And I truly believe like it is important for everybody, even if you don't like wrestling, no matter what you like, whatever it is that you enjoy, because it's not like I strictly enjoy wrestling, right? I love a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that I enjoy, but this is obviously at the forefront. But no matter what you enjoy, man, you got to hold on to that, and you got to like keep that child inside of you. I truly believe that. Like some people, you know, they grow up and it's just like, oh, it's no time for fun and games, everything serious. Man, life is way too serious. You got to have something that just brings you back to those simpler times, brings you back to being happy, brings you back to having fun. That's what life's all about. And this really does bring me there, man. Like I tell people all the time, like I'm a displayer, not a player. So I don't play with my
I like that. I like that.
I
I'm a
display
displayer,
them.
not a player.
But bro, that's like the adult play, right? And there's something therapeutic about it, man. Like I just while I'm not smashing these figures together, it brings me back to that time. And there's memories. Like I might have, like I said, I have like over 10,000 figures and collectibles because not everything's considered a figure. But I have over 10,000, and I swear to God, I would say like 80% of them have meaningful memories attached to them. And I don't know if everybody's like this, but I'll hold something and it'll literally bring me back to a specific moment, time, conversation with my dad, my mom, whatever it may be. And like it's way more than just plastic. To me, this is art, this is memories, this is love, this is like it's so much to me, man. And I want to believe that those feelings come out in my content when I talk about this stuff because I genuinely do love this stuff so much.
Yeah, man, you can see it in your content. You can see the
that.
passion. You can see the passions there. You can see the excitement of when you go hunting and you look for these new pieces. You can see it, man. You can see it's there. Let me ask you this: what was the most memorable piece you got in your possession?
So when I was a kid, the wrestling figure line that I first had started in 1989, 1990, and it was the Hasbro line. There were these little 4.5-inch figures. And
they're barely adjustable, right?
Okay. Yeah, they got
Okay.
actions and stuff like that, but they were cool, man. They were fun for the time. You know what I mean? They weren't as playable, but they were playable enough. Well, there was like the very last series was very difficult to find and never found it as a kid. And it had this the first ever 1, 2, 3 Kid action figure in it. And I wanted it so much as a kid. And about 4 years ago now, I would say, maybe 5 years ago, Christmas Day, I'm at my parents' house and we're all hanging out, we're exchanging gifts. And my dad hands me a box, I open it up, and it's that 1, 2, 3 Kid on the card, mint condition. And I was blown away because it's a very expensive figure. And I was like, what? At the time, it was expensive. And he told me what he paid. He paid $190 for it.
Back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money now, too.
But, bro, that figure now, in just a short period of time, like 4 or 5 years, skyrocketed. It's over $1,200 now if you want one. So I told him, he was like, it was a lot of money, and then once it shot up, I was like, dude, you got a steal on that now. You can't get that for under $1,000 now. That's definitely a very valuable piece to me, not just monetary, but like intrinsically. Like it just means a lot, that moment that my dad really he felt inclined to get this thing from my childhood that I wanted, that he knew I would never buy and I would never spend that kind of money on. Right. And every time I walk by that figure, man, it just brings me back to that day and like the emotion that I felt and how much it meant to me.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
And what is the oldest piece you have?
Man, it's probably stuff from the 80s. AWA Remcos, they were like these like He-Man style figures that came with like cloth good shirts and pants.
Yeah. The little cloth shirts. Yeah.
They were cool, man. They're like, looking back, like they're not on the level of like intricacy as modern figures, but it's not everything has to be. Like you got to find the beauty in this stuff, right? The history. You can't get where we are without appreciating where we've come from. You know what I mean? And that's, and again, that brings me back to my room, how I set it up. It's like this is where we started, and now look at where we are. You're basically holding, the new figures are like a literal shrunken down version of the actual person. They look just like them. They move just like them. They're articulate. It's like insane. But I absolutely appreciate where it all started. So.
Yeah, man. That's dope. And I saw recently that you did a video and you ate those ice creams from back in the day. I know some of the people that are gonna watch this are gonna know what I'm talking about because they used to sell them on the ice cream trucks back in the day. I saw that you got your hands on some.
So that was
back? Go ahead.
Sorry, it's not like a real ice cream bar. It's like this company signed a deal with Macho Man Randy Savage's like estate, and they produce like these like, it looks like a real ice cream bar, but it's not edible. It's like a display piece. But I also like a couple years ago, they tried coming back out with them, but they weren't the same, bro. They weren't the same. They were literally just an ice cream sandwich. It tasted like trash. It was not good. But I like tried to replicate it by taking like the ice cream and the cookie, and then I added like a shell and stuff to try and recreate that original. Because like you're saying, man, they used to be on the ice cream trucks. They were banging. I don't care what anybody says.
Bro, what?
They were so good.
Bro, they used to come with a card too. They used to the little card. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm biased. I wanted the Stone Cold one. I used to end up with the Triple H. It was cool, whatever. At the time, it wasn't. It was always beef with Triple H.
That's funny, man, because I always got Triple H or Ken Shamrock. I never got the Stone Cold.
Yo, I never got Austin. I was never able. I always got Triple H. And I hated, and this was 98, 97 is what, like, when he was becoming a villain, right? Like when you saw the greatness coming. I hated him, man. But I remember those ice creams, bro, and they were banging, right? It wasn't the marketing behind it. It was actually the taste was really good.
Yes, like really sometimes, good. Man, like sometimes you'll have a fandom and they'll come out with some kind of food product and you're like, you want it to be so good and it just sucks, right? Like WWE's done a ton of stuff of different food items, candies, drinks, and stuff like this. I swear, and I will stand by this to the day I die, those ice cream bars were money and they were so good. It wasn't just because I love WWF. They were actually
actually good. Yes. Yeah. Yes. All right, so let's get bring them back. Please. Please. So you're an author.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, before you go into the encyclopedia, I want to talk about the coloring book series that you have.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say to you what you're doing is amazing. I think that is a great idea to do something what you're doing. What gave you the idea to do a coloring book in a series?
Dude, it's hard because I don't really remember. I don't really remember. That was so I started the coloring book series back in 2018, I want to say, and we've done I think 6 books now, and they've done really well. They're now exclusively on BarnesandNoble.com, which is really awesome to have them publishing them. But so basically, what it is, man, it's the unreleased wrestling figure coloring book, and the whole idea came from WWF. When I was a kid, used to do coloring books like almost every year. They haven't done one in forever, bro. And I was like, man, like this was such a big thing in my childhood. Like I wish they still did this. And I'm one of those people, like this is just my personality. If I want something and it doesn't exist, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it exist. You know, same thing with this wrestling figure encyclopedia. I'm like, man, I wish somebody would make this book already. Like we need like this guide. Like want this encyclopedia, this history of wrestling figures, stuff like that. So I just make it. But that was the basic thing, man. Like I was like, man, I wish like they still made coloring books. So I made one. It was the unreleased wrestling figure coloring book. And I was just like, all right, it's just going to be a one-time thing. And it was all the like prominent, popular, unreleased figures that everybody was like would see advertised, and then they never came out. And inside it has information on the figures. It has like a QR code where you can scan it, and it'll bring you to the actual picture and
that's dope.
Of the thing. So like you can color it the way it was supposed to be, or you can create your own design or whatever. But the thing that like really made me continue these is I found, because I thought, all right, I'm going to buy this. Like, you know, some moms will buy them for their kids and stuff. What I found is like the adult collectors were buying these things, and they were coloring in these pages with their kids. And I was constantly getting DMs about like with pictures of what their kid did to color it, and saying like how much it like meant to them, and like thank you for like making this. It was a really great experience with my kid. It really got them like into like wrestling figures and seeing the different styles, and like I've been thanked so many times for that series, and that is the reason that I love those coloring books, is because seeing that something I did from a passion that I've had my entire life has brought someone even closer with their child, and been able to allow them to share their hobby with their child. It's just like words can't explain how that makes me feel.
Right. I can imagine the joy that the parent that watched wrestling and the kid that's getting introduced to it in a fun way.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's
And
dope, man. Hats off to you for that.
Thanks, man. And it's cool because sometimes, and this goes for anything, not just what I'm talking about. It goes for anything. Sometimes we set out to do something, right, with a with an end goal, or like you don't even really know where it's going to go.
Right.
That's the beauty. Like you don't know what venture you're going to do, how it's going to affect other people.
Right.
And that goes at all levels, man. All levels. You know, even like when I was first starting my YouTube channel, I even have like 1,000 subscribers, and I'm like, man, like I don't know if this is worth it. Like putting in a lot of work for this stuff. And I remember I got a message from someone. They were like, I look forward to your videos every week, and they're a huge part of my weekend. And that right there, I was like, even if it's this one dude that's listening and watching, I'm gonna keep doing it. Because you know what? Like somebody appreciates this, that somebody finds value in this. And if one person finds value in something you're doing, it don't stop there, man. You just got to find the audience. And it takes time.
Yeah.
I'm still building stuff. You know what I mean? I'm still building stuff. I'm still, you know, like assessing everything that I do. And I'm sure you do the same thing. Anybody who's a creative, you put out stuff and you assess it and you're like, okay, how can I make this better? Right. What don't I like about this? What do other people like about this or not like? And like you're constantly growing. If you're not constantly growing, man, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Exactly. And I want to say to you, man, I said this off air to you, man, your content, man, it is like eye-watching. That makes any sense. Like you have the emotion behind it, right? The passion you put behind it, the feeling that you give your audience, right? Because when I look at your videos, I'm looking like I was a kid back in the day going to KB Toys. I don't know if people know about that. I'm not old. KB Toys, Toys R Us, right?
Yes.
Going looking. Your videos give me that excitement, bro. And that is good content, and that's what. And no matter what you were doing, if you're a content creator, TikTok, whatever, that is the whole goal, is to bring that emotional excitement to your craft, and that's what you're doing, bro. So I'm happy you were able to continue to go with that, because I found you. Yeah. So man, just continue to go, man. I am too, right? This is what you got to do. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, man, you got to keep going. Like, you know what? That's the thing, man. Some people, they'll. I've seen so many times where people trash talk someone because, oh, they don't have a lot of followers or a lot of views on certain things. It's like, first off, if you continue doing stuff, it all accumulates and adds up. And trust me, you can monetize everything you do on the internet. Don't go by followers. All right. Plus, the Rock is one of the biggest stars in the world, and we're talking about a guy who for years couldn't make a buck and was wrestling in flea marts. You know what I mean? All it takes is continuing to chug away. If he quit early on, like, oh, I'm only making this much money, I'm done. There would be no Rock.
There would be no Rock.
So you got to keep going, man. If you love what you do, you got to keep going. You got it. And like, I mean, I love making the content. And I think the biggest thing is, like, every time I make a video, it brings me back. That sometimes, dude, I'll get lost filming a video because I'm just like, I'm in my own head, just reliving these memories and the information. Like, just as much as I might trigger a memory in you, when people comment on my stuff and ask me certain things and I make a video to it, they're triggering memories in me. And the biggest thing, like, people will be like, oh, like, they'll ask me to show a figure and they might be like, how come you never answer my thing? And like, sometimes things just don't resonate with me, and I want to make quality stuff that, like, I think has meaningful information. And if I feel like I can't provide anything meaningful with the video, it's not that I won't do it. I'll just put it off until I'll put it off until I feel like, oh, you know what, I could talk about this, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I love making this stuff. I really do, and I hope that it shows. And it's if you're passionate about something, man, other people are going to be like, okay, that's pretty cool. Okay. I can see why he's in.
Exactly. Yes, that is true. So you do events, right? You've been to WrestleCons.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Like, What are some of your experiences doing those type of events?
Dude, it's wild.
I can
It's
imagine.
it's one of those things where I'm just like, dude, like, how is this my life? I remember a couple years ago I was at WrestleCade. I was invited to come. They flew me out to WrestleCade. They, set me up with a booth, and I was with Ted DiBiase, and I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm getting picked up with Ted DiBiase from the airport. We're getting breakfast in the morning. I'm just like, wait, what? I'm eating breakfast with $1 Million Man. Like, what is happening? Like, it's just like, it's a crazy stuff like that. And then like another cool thing experience from this is these like people that I've looked up to my whole life following me, messaging me, and enjoying what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, for instance, earlier this week, Taboo of the Black Eyed Peas slid into my DMs, and he was like, dude, I just gotta let you know, man, I and your content. He was like, and because he's a big collector too, he loves toys and stuff, and he's like, it's such an inspiration, this stuff. Like he's like, I'm so impressed with everything that you do. And I'm like, the Black Eyed Peas sliding into my DMs about my toys? You know what I mean? Like,
man.
Cool stuff like that. I've become friendly with a good amount of the wrestlers. Like, a couple years ago, I was on Wheel of Fortune, and Xavier Woods and I, we were on there together as a tag team. It was the first time they ever had tag team, like a 2-person team on Wheel of Fortune, and I'm there with Xavier Woods. You know what I mean? And we stayed in touch. He actually wrote the foreword for one of my books in 2023. Like, just like cool stuff, man. Like, and I'm not saying this stuff like to name, but like these are things that I'm just like, man, like, it's amazing what something that you're passionate about, where it can bring you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people get into stuff, they get into fields and stuff because they want to make money. I want to make money at this, so I'm gonna start making music. I want to make money, so I'm gonna start making YouTube videos. That's nice, that's good, and I'm sure some people are successful at it, but I do think the root of success comes from passion.
Yes.
And I think that makes growth and success easier, is when you have a true passion for whatever you're doing.
Yes. Yes. 100% agree with that. Yes. Okay. So you done wrestling cons. You talk about you're starting to realize, man, this is for you, right? You're starting to see that, man, this is what you want to do. What was that what was that moment you had? Maybe it could have been meeting somebody at one of these places, or just that this is it moment for me. This is really what I want to do. What was that? When did you come to that realization? This is what you're passionate about. This is what you want to do. This is what you want to be consistent with.
Dude, it probably goes back to that day I told you when I saw that kid's Ninja Turtle collection. It really goes back to that. Like, I'm not even kidding. As a I forget how old I am sometimes, 37-year-old man, that laid the foundation for me, believe it or not. That was an impressionable moment for me, that you can display these things and it can be aesthetic.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get a house, and I'm gonna create a wrestling room, and I'm gonna make it like a museum, and then I'm just gonna post it on Instagram. Well, the Instagram started blowing up, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe we should post on YouTube. And YouTube started doing pretty decent. And then TikTok, I'll start posting on TikTok too. The TikTok blew up like instantly. And just, I was like, man, like, people care about this stuff. And sometimes what I found with humans is that as we get older, we lose sight of the things that we actually care about, right? And I've found that my audience, even though I'm dealing with toys and I am showing you toys,
Yeah,
my audience is so predominantly adult male. There's like minimal kids in my demographic, which is, if you asked me that 8 years ago, do you think you're going to have kids as an audience or adults, I would have been, yeah, it's 100% kids. Yeah, kids are going to be watching this. No, it's like mostly adults. And that right there tells me that, sometimes we lose sight of things we love, and then it presents itself to us, and it's like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. This really brings me back. This sparks memories. And sometimes these videos push people to go start their own collection. I have plenty of people that have messaged me and they're like, dude, I love your content. I'll never collect again. I'll never buy another figure, but I live vicariously through you. And I'm like, dude, that's another thing that I just love about this.
Yeah, that is dope to hear that. That is dope. Can we see the heel cave?
So I'm in my office right now.
You're in your office.
Then I'm hooked up here. There's no way I'd be able to unhook all this stuff, unfortunately. Ahead of time, I probably could have sent something up, but it would be too much because it's the floor below me. I'd have to unhook the computer, the microphone, the camera, and everything like that. But listen, man, next time we do this, I promise I'll make sure we're set.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna put videos of the heel cave. I want people to see this masterpiece you put together.
Thanks, man. My apologies. Plus, we literally I revamped like the whole thing, and we created a second room, and that literally we just finished that like maybe like a month ago. Everything, and I will be doing a new like room tour this summer, and it's pretty cool, dude. There's some really cool displays that I have up, some really fun stuff that I can't wait to show. So once that is up, I will make sure I send that link over to you so you can check out the whole thing.
Yes, I would love to see that. All right, so let me ask you this, bro. You are also an Amazon associate, right? You sell your pieces on Amazon.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that, and why did you get into that type of work as well?
Well, it's pretty simple. Like, I post stuff all the time, right? Everything that I'm getting and stuff like that. And the most common question you're going to get when you're posting anything that is, acquirable, as far as like clothing, video games, hats, shoes, the number one question you're going to get is, where did you get that? So I figured I would just make it easier. When I get something, I will attach the link to it. You can go get it too. You don't have to. I'm not putting pressure on you to go get these things, whether you get them or not. Like that really doesn't matter to me. But this makes it so it's easier for people because, listen, I'm aware that I love this game so much, and I have so much time invested in it that I just know how to search for things, where to get things. I know where certain figures are exclusive to. It's a lot of information that the common person isn't going to know. So it's easy for me to just be like, okay, like, you want this John Cena figure? Here's where you get it. And I get the questions all the time. So that's the easiest thing, is to just have everything readily available. Someone asks, hey, where'd you get this? Here you go. Here's the link. That's really what it all came down to. It's just so much easier that way. Plus, I already had all my books up there. So I was like, I might as well just start throwing figures on here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually a good idea, man. What wrestlers don't you have?
I mean, there's plenty. Since I started the TikTok, there was like this idea that I have everything, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
Of course, people are going to test you and see if you do. Yes, of course.
I've never said I have every figure. And believe it or not, I don't want every figure. There's a lot of trash out there, bro. There's a lot of stuff that just looks like garbage. But as far as things that I really want, there is this old Hasbro ring that was like a mini ring that came with these like mini figures, and it had like these little things that went under the ring, and you could pump them, and it would like hit the mat like up and down. And it was a Royal Rumble ring. And it would basically just knock these figures around until they went out. And it's like a game, like, so there's only one figure left in there. And I really want that, like, sealed in the box, in good condition. And it's so difficult to find. I've found a couple for good prices over the years, but the condition wasn't there. And I've gotten to a place in my like collecting where if it's not exactly what I want, I'm done doing placeholders. I used to do that. Like, I would be like, oh, here's a good deal on this figure. It's in horrible condition, but I'll get it as a placeholder. that's just creating more work for me in the end, because then I'm still searching for the item. Then once I get the item, then I'm like, all right, I feel inclined to sell this, lower quality one, so I can like get a little bit of a rebate on what I did. So I'm done with placeholders, but that is my number one thing that I've been hunting. Yeah.
And what wrestler? Now I'm curious. What wrestler is the hardest to get?
Man, that's tough. There's a lot. There is a lot, and it all depends on certain things. Like, there's stuff that's only available in certain countries. Like the first ever Hulk Hogan figure was from this company called Popey, and it's like a soft vinyl Hulk Hogan from like
the pillow like looking.
No. These were like, it's like soft vinyl, and it's like this big, has arms that move, and that's pretty much it. Looks horrible, has like gold hair instead of blonde, and it was only in Japan. And this figure is like, that's like the holy grail Hulk Hogan. Stuff like that, that's rare, man, and especially on the card, that's rare. You're like, it's hard to find it. For me, I was a huge fan of the Bone Crunchers from Jax, and they were like these little rubber figures. You could bend the arms, and they would have like this little mechanism that would click, but they called it bone crunching. There was this like Stone Cold Steve Austin WrestleMania 15 mail away figure, and a very limited batch of them had a different decal on the shirt. Me and my boy Fig Vault, man, we spent years hunting this figure down. And this past Christmas, he found one sealed, and he bought it and gave it to me as a Christmas gift. And my head almost blew out of my skull because I couldn't believe he found it. It's not valuable at all. It's not valuable at all. It's like a $10 figure. It's just there's not a lot of them. There's also not a lot of people who give a shit enough about it to hunt it down. It's just, you got to hope that there's somebody out there that has one and they put it up. But again, it's not worth money. Rarity doesn't always mean value. But for me,
it's the passion behind it.
Yeah, it's something that I've wanted for
years, man.
Yeah,
it's the story.
Yeah, dude.
You also have belts as well.
I do. I have a couple. I've never been one of the like belt collectors. Like there's this dude on Instagram, King Coley. Man, I swear to God, this guy has like almost every belt. If you don't know who he is, you got to check him out. First of all, this dude's
check
awesome.
him out.
Yeah, his style is awesome. The way he like dresses, his shots are cool. Like he'll dress up like in like Bret Hart colors with like a chalk line jacket, and then he'll rock like the title, and he'll be out like outside like with like a big body of water behind him, and it's just a dope aesthetic, man.
That is so dope, yo. The way you just described that is so dope.
he's so cool, man. King Coley, shout out to him.
Shout out to King Coley. Okay, I'm about to get in touch with him.
Huge belt collector, man. Like I can't. Nobody. I feel like nobody can touch this dude. You see his room. It's literally just the whole room. It's just belts draped on the walls, and it's so cool. But like for me, like with the belts, like I'm big into the toy belts. Obviously, like that's my thing.
Toy belts.
Yes. And so my favorite is I have this original WWF Hasbro one in the box, and it's got like the Ultimate Warrior on it. And it's just like, it's one of those things, again, it brings me back to my childhood because I had that as a kid, and I wore that thing all over the house, man. I thought that I was the WWF champion.
I'm going to sound like this might just be me and my brother. I don't mean to put him on the spot. Sorry, Tim. So what we used to do, because the belts were kind of light, we kind of wanted it to be a little heavy. So we kind of like put a sock on the end of it to give it a little bit of weight. I don't know if you did that. We did that all the time.
That's hilarious. That's genius, though.
To give it a little weight, because we always imagined, until I actually felt a WWE belt. I actually felt one. I always imagined, man, it must be the heaviest thing in the world. Bro, Tim, we got to make it heavy, man. So we just put socks on it to make it heavier than what it was.
That's funny, man.
My favorite belt from the toy collection, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go into good detail with it, but it was the Intercontinental Champion, right? And I think it was not the one from '98, maybe the one before they switched it. So the one when Warrior and Bret had Bret, that type. But all right, so the front of it was silver, but the belt itself was like purplish, and it
Yes.
was one of my. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
One of my favorite belts. Yeah, dude.
bro. I wore that thing all around, just like you. I wore it all around the house, and I had a brother, so me and him were fighting all the time for that belt. That was my favorite belt growing up as a kid.
Hell yeah, man. I love the Intercontinental Champion. That's one of my that's period, just alone as a belt, not a toy belt. That's probably my favorite belt ever.
Is that your favorite looking? Give me, because I had this talk with my brother. Give me 5 of the best looking belts.
Ooh, man, that's tough. But number one, I always love the Winged Eagle, right? The Winged Eagle belt, so cool. Also, like when Stone Cold first won the championship, WrestleMania 14, that's the first world championship he had. I love that belt. The purple Intercontinental, the oval one that The Rock was known for. I love that belt, man. He gets a lot of shit, but I love that belt. The original WWF World Tag Team belts I thought were cool. They were like almost like boxy looking, right?
Yeah, kind of similar. Yep.
Man, the modern belts I'm really not a fan of. There's none of them that I'm really gravitating for. But you gotta love that the big gold, right? The WCW championship. And I wasn't even a big WCW guy, but you can't deny that's a beautiful belt.
Yes.
And I
Yes. You
think
got one more. I agree with you. Yes.
So let's see. Oh man, there's some gimmicky ones that I always enjoyed, but I can't say they're my favorite. I always liked the European Championship, but I can't say
My man.
I can't say that's my number 5 though.
It's
I always
top 5.
liked it.
Okay.
It don't get love though. That belt does not get the love it
The
deserves.
European Championship is in my top 5.
Yeah, dude,
Yes.
It's a good belt, man. It's a great belt. I mean, like, dude, even they got a lot of shit, but dude, I used to love the John Cena spinner belt. I thought that it was perfect for the time because everything was spinner rims. The unit had the spinner chain, so it was like
the spinner chains.
It was part of the culture, man. That's what people are missing.
It was part of the culture. Okay, that's your 5. Okay, I'm gonna give you that because of the time. Yeah. It got out of hand after a while.
It did, and it doesn't hold up today. But in the moment, it made sense.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my 5.
I'm here for it. All right, so you're.
All right, I'm gonna go. The World Wrestling Federation champion, the WrestleMania 14 belt, right? I'm gonna go that from like 99 to 2003 or something like that. I'm gonna go with that belt, the World Wrestling Championship belt. My second belt, man, is going to be the TV Championship from WCW.
That was a good title, man.
I love that title. Love the design of the belt. My third is gonna be that WCW Heavyweight Championship belt.
You gotta.
That all gold. That is something special right there. I'm gonna agree with you on that. Of course.
It looks like royalty, right?
It looks like royalty.
You are the man. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. You feel like a heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna put the 1980, like the late 80s, early 90s Intercontinental Championship belt. The one that the Ultimate Warrior had, Bret Hart had, Mr. Perfect. And then my last one, I'm gonna put the European belt.
I respect it. I love it, man. You know what? Because nobody puts the European belt on there. Nobody gives it love. But dude, that was a nice looking championship. The shape, the color, everything about it.
The color, the red, the blue, bro, it was nice. It was a beautiful belt. It was a beautiful belt. Before we move on, man, I want to ask you one thing, man. Being a collector, being an author, you're a person that is consistent, right? How do you stay consistent when you're going through a rough time, maybe when you're having trouble getting back up on your horse? How do you get through difficult times? How do you stay consistent?
It's tough. So I actually dealt with this year. From December until like April, man, I was in a real rough patch. Like it was one of those times where, man, like everything keeps going wrong. even my girlfriend at the time, she was like, Jesus, you cannot catch a break. Like everything that you try keeps falling apart, whether it was things at the house, things with the collection, just all different types of stuff. And like, I did not have the time to create content like I wanted to in the way that I wanted to. Like I had to completely, there was like a leak in my house. So I had to completely gut my heel cave out, redo like all the floors, all the walls and stuff, like complete drywall. And I'm doing it myself. Just because of an issue with like a leak in the roof, and it just trickled down and affected everything. And it was about a total of like 5 months where I was like really out of commission. And she knew, I knew, my boy Figvald, who's another collector, knew. But just to give myself a little bit of credit, my followers really didn't know. I was able to navigate around everything, and I wasn't putting out as much content in the quantity that I wanted to, but I made sure that I still did something daily. And I really am proud of myself for how I was able to continue the content when I was dealing with, when I tell you, man, I was like knee deep in stuff of problems in all areas of my life, not just collecting. That was like the least of my worries. My house, my family, my health. I mean, like there was there was so much stuff happening, and I was like, I can't believe that like one person can get all of this stuff just dumped on them at once. And I, to my credit, giving myself credit, I was very proud of myself that I didn't neglect my social medias and stuff like that, and didn't neglect my business, and continued carrying on. Maybe not in the capacity I would have liked, maybe not in the quality I would have liked. And I know it wasn't the quality I would have liked because I wasn't growing. I really, my income dropped, my views dropped, and I'm still cleaning up after that these months later. But really what it comes down to is just, you gotta fight through. You gotta just know that, these hard times are temporary. And that's what I kept telling myself. This is temporary. It's going to get better. I have a support system. I have my girlfriend. I have my friends. I have my family. I got to get through this. Like it's a small percentage of my life, and just got to keep fighting through. Trust me. There was so many times where I was like, dude, I just want to give up. I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done cleaning up all these messes, and but you gotta have your eyes on the prize, and that's what I did. And now I'm in a good place. I'm happy with where everything is in my life. I've cleaned up a lot of stuff, cleaned up my health, cleaned up my house. It's all about just knowing that if you put in the work, you're gonna get where you need to be. And that's what I've always done. I've always done for anything in my life. I've never been handed anything, nothing. And I think that's the best way to go.
I was going to say that. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's the best. If you've ever met somebody who has had the whole world handed to them, they don't have much substance to them. You know what I mean? They don't have much intrinsic value that they can give you. They don't have much. They're not very introspective people. Right. Because they don't need to be. They don't need to work their way out of situations and hard times, and fight for things that they have, and get things the hard way. So I always think, just put in the work. People message me all the time like, hey, how did you grow this? How did you do this? How did you do this? And I'll talk to people, but what it all comes down to is you have to provide value, and you have to be consistent. And I am very, very self-aware that not everything that I put out, not every video is good or great. But listen, like, they can't all be great. There's my favorite artists in the world, they put out albums that I think suck. My favorite actors have been in movies that I think suck. And that's okay. You can't have banger after banger. Nobody can.
The Rock. Sorry, keep going.
Listen. That man does put out some quality to wherever he goes, man. Even when it's something that I'm like, yeah, man, this is probably gonna suck.
It didn't translate to movies, man. Dude, you have one of the best. You have some of the best promos in WWE history. Why has not translated to movies?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't understand that. Don't understand that.
There's somebody else writing them.
Yeah, I don't understand it, man. Bro, I appreciate you for sharing that, man. And as a fan, man, because I am a fan of your work, and I do like now that I'm getting to know you more, but just to seeing your content and stuff like that, bro. I'm happy to hear that you kept going, right?
Yeah, man. Like you gotta.
Because you're
You gotta.
benefiting a lot of people.
Yeah. And dude, like I said, like we all go through stuff, but I mean, anybody who follows my social medias knows how much this like stuff means to me, like the wrestling and everything like that in my collection. Because like I said, it's more than just toys. It's like there's memories and stuff attached. So when my house was really not in a good way, and I had to gut everything out, pull up all the floors, pull out all the walls. I mean, emotionally, what that did to me, it might sound silly to the average person, but like that like really hurt me to see that like the things that I love and the memories, because that's what they are. It's all my memories just to be thrown into boxes. It was just like it made it so like it was very hard for me to actually make everything right and put in the work and fix everything, because it was just like I felt like it was just all just like I'm like, damn, like what am I gonna do? Like, do I know how to do all this? Do I even think I can fix this? I was just in a bad way, man. But yeah, like that's all anybody has to do in anything. And there's people who are going through much harder times than I went through this year. Like I said, I was going through health stuff. Like there's people who go through much worse things. And I really, truly believe that your mindset plays a big part. When I was a kid, my mom had breast cancer, and I remember I was upset, and I was like, aren't you like scared? And I remember she was like dead serious, like, no. Why? She was like, this is just something I have to go through, something I have to finish and move on from eventually. And that literally, I think that conversation with my mom laid the foundation for how I approach life, because I truly believe that your mindset, if you go in, I truly believe she went into that like, oh, I have cancer, I'm dead, this is my death sentence. She probably would have. But she went into it like, no, I gotta kick this thing's ass and then I'll move on with my life. And I think if you approach life that way, I think you're gonna see that you come out on top way more times than you think.
Yeah. With an open mind. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you for sharing that. Yeah. Bro. So I have, before we let you go, brother, I want to do some segments with you, man. Because I know you're not only a collector, man, you're a diehard fan. Guys, this man is a diehard fan. All right, might be bigger, probably more, yes, a diehard fan. All right. So I'm gonna ask you some questions. You're gonna give me your list. All right.
I'm in the hot seat.
So, yes, you're in the hot seat. Give me your top 5 wrestlers to never win a WWE championship.
Well, I can give you one right now that I think is super talented, and he's currently on the WWE roster. And I'm not sure if he's ever, I don't want to say ever, but just by the way he's booked, I'm not sure if they're ever going to give him that chance. And it was because he was a Vince McMahon guy, and that's Austin Theory. This dude is a star through and through. He's got it all, but I don't think people took to him because of the way Vince McMahon booked him and kind of just launching him to the top a little bit, putting him like in top storylines and stuff. But he's a super talented guy. I actually met him when I was on Wheel of Fortune. And do you ever meet somebody and you're like, holy shit, this person's presence just screams like stardom? He did. He just had this like vibe to him. I'm like, man, this guy is a star. He really is. As a kid, man, I was a huge Kerry Von Erich Texas Tornado fan, and I truly would have loved to see him be the champion. Man, this is tough. This is tough, dude. Yeah, man. I loved Kerry Von Erich. He was one of my favorites as a kid. Man, this is tough. You really did. You put me in a hot seat, bro. Man. Oh, dude, you know another one? When I was in high school, the people are probably gonna clown me for this one. When I was in high school, there was a guy. His name was Chris Masters, and I thought
Mm-hmm.
this dude. I thought he was going to be the next big thing. He wasn't. He really wasn't. But he had the look. He was good in the ring. I thought he was decent on the mic. He had a great presentation. His music, his gimmick. I mean, it all just was just like it was. It was great. It was all tied together there, and I really think that I think that if they continue to push him and put him through training and stuff like that, I do think that he could have been a nice contender. I mean, he had some great matches. I think he had matches with Shawn Michaels and stuff like that. Like, he was a very talented guy. So that's 3. Man, you really put me on a spot here. This is tough, bro. Ah, dude, Roddy Piper. How could you?
Roddy Piper. I was looking for that.
I'm still mind blown. How did he not?
Yeah, I was looking. There's another one I want you to say, but I'm gonna. I expect you to say it.
Oh man! And the other one, I don't know if it's your guy, but I feel like when I was a kid, at least, everybody thought this guy was going to get the championship, and it was British Bulldog, man. I thought.
Oh no, you didn't say it. Yes, okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Man. Who was your guy? I need to know. I need to know right now.
I was gonna say Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, for sure. Yo, the fact that Jake didn't hold the Continental.
Jake the Snake didn't get a title run, and you know what the crazy thing is? He was the trendsetter of that time. Yes, of course, Hogan, but Jake was another big star, man. And for Vince not to give him a title shot, that's blow mind for me.
But you know what, man? He didn't need it. And I think it's evident now. Like I've thought, it's funny you say that because he was. I didn't say him, but that's somebody my whole life. Same with Roddy Piper. I was like, man, like how's this guy not holding championships after championship in WWF?
Right.
But here we are, 2025, 40 years later from when he probably started in WWF. He never had a championship, but he's held at a higher regard than some of the guys that did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So did he need it? He had all the other tools. Maybe he didn't need it. He deserved it.
Definitely. Jake was a dog.
Yes.
I'm gonna give you mine. So I got Jake the Snake Roberts. Ravishing Rick Rude.
For sure. And that's evident because he won the championship in WCW.
Yeah, so he won in WCW, but never got a WWE run, and he's one of the greatest heels.
Yeah.
I would say Dusty Rhodes. Now, Dusty won it in WCW, but did not win in the WWE.
Yes.
WWF at the time. Roddy Piper, of course. And then I'm going to say Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase was definitely on my radar too. I was thinking it. Yep.
Because, all right, so what they did in WrestleMania 4, right? He did a great match against the Macho Man. Probably one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history. But I think if Vince gives DiBiase the title, I think we have a better storyline between the Mega Powers.
I agree.
My opinion.
I agree. I think I don't know why they didn't, but I feel like they were going to, and then they kind of backtracked on it. I agree with that 100%. What you're saying,
dude. DiBiase. All right, so best promos, best wrestlers that do promos.
Easy. Stone Cold, The Rock, right there. Easy. Dude, CM Punk. I'm always amazed with him of how he can speak with such intellect and never miss a beat. He can just talk and talk and talk, and he doesn't stutter on anything. Nothing. Same thing with Bray Wyatt, dude. Bray Wyatt is up there. He's probably one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time. Unbelievable promos. It's just like, bro, how can you, first of all, how do you think of this stuff? Second, how do you absorb it and just spew it out, uninterrupted, unaffected. It's just it's like Shakespeare, dude. Beautifully done. And that's 4, I think, right?
Yep, 4. One more.
There's a couple, man. This is tough. This is the last one is tough. I have to narrow it down. There's 2 people I'm back and forth between. Number 1 is Ric Flair.
Limousine. Okay.
And number 2 is Macho Man.
Ooh.
Oh, man, this is tough because they're so different. They're so different at their promos. You know what I mean? But I got to go with the man who spent more on spilt liquor than most people make in a year.
Yeah.
That's Ric Flair, bro.
Mr. Ric Flair, yeah. The best promos. Steve Austin, Stone Cold. Ric Flair, Macho Man, Scott Steiner.
Yo, listen. People make fun of Steiner, but
Steiner was a beast on that mic.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior.
Listen, Ultimate Warrior talked a lot of shit. And by shit, I mean stuff that really didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense, but it sounded good.
But he was intelligent. I don't know if you remember this, but he used to use this word, destrucity. And it's a completely made up word that he made. And he described it as it is the combination of destruction and something else. And he would say he's going to rain destrucity on, and it's like, as weird as that may be in real life, in wrestling, it's like, yo, he's talking some shit.
He's talking some shit right now. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I got a couple more for you. I have 2 more for you. And this one I really want you to think about because this one is difficult. So get ready. Fantasy matches. Matches that did not happen.
So I told you I'm an Austin guy. I got 2 right off the tongue that I've always wanted, and that is number 1, Austin and Goldberg, just for obvious reasons. But I wanted Austin and Goldberg in the Attitude Era. You know, I didn't want Austin and Goldberg in the mid-2000s when it was a possibility when Goldberg was in WWE. I wanted it Monday Night Wars. You know what I mean? WCW send over Goldberg and WWF will send over Austin and we'll wrestle in a ring. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Austin, and I didn't care when this happened, but Austin versus Hogan, I just felt like
that needed to happen.
Needed to happen, man. Taker and Sting is another one. Like everybody wanted Taker. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about the other day before we had this conversation. I would like Taker and Mankind over Taker and Sting.
Well, you mean Sting and Mankind? Because Taker and
Mankind. No, I'm sorry. Woof. I would like Sting versus Mankind.
I can see that.
I think it's a better storyline.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that would be a solid one.
Yeah. Hey, Taker and Sting. Go ahead.
This is tough now. Because then I start thinking like modern guys, right? So it brings me back to another Austin, because Austin's my favorite, so I'm just going to lean towards him at all times. But another one I would love is Austin versus Punk. I think that would be really cool. And the thing is, man, a couple years ago, he faced Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, and it's like, oh, man, if it was just a couple years later. He's 60 now. He ain't going to wrestle again, I don't think. But, man, Punk and Austin, that would be – could you imagine the promos leading up to that? Forget the match, bro. Could you imagine those promos leading up to that? Man.
You got one more.
And here's one that, it happened, but not the way I would want it to. I would love to see Triple H in his prime. I'm talking between 98 and 2000 Triple H.
Okay, when he was getting there. Yeah, okay.
Versus Ric Flair in his prime. I'm not talking old man Rick. I'm talking Ric Flair in his prime. Oh, my God.
Talking four horsemen Rick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 4 horsemen behind him, DX behind Triple H. I would have loved to see that.
That would have been a badass story.
Bro,
That would have been a badass story.
I can keep going, man. Like, I would love to see Shawn Michaels in his prime against Seth Rollins. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yes, I would have liked to see more Stone Cold than Shawn Michaels. I didn't think we got enough.
Yeah,
I didn't think we got enough.
I'll never get enough of Stone Cold, man. My favorite of all time, and I do think that his career ended prematurely.
Yeah, but you know the neck, Owen Hart, and the knee injuries. Okay, that I like your list. I'm gonna say the first one. I'm gonna say is Kurt Angle versus Bret Hart. I think that would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, man. Kurt versus Owen too would have been.
Oh, that's my next one. I would have said Kurt. All right, so I'm gonna put Kurt versus Owen Hart as my number 2. Number 3, I'm gonna go Roman Reigns versus Triple H in his prime.
I like it. Yo, listen, people.
Triple H is the best storyteller, bro. He's the best stories.
So
he
good.
Has the best stories.
Dude, and Roman's good. See, people get caught up in Roman and Cena, and they're like, oh, the 5 moves of doom. It don't matter how many moves you have. It matters the story that you tell with them. And if you can tell a story all different ways with different people with only 5 moves, I would say that makes you a GOAT.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to give you a tag team one.
I love tag teams. I was actually thinking about doing a tag team one on mine.
I'm gonna say the Hardy Boys versus the Rockers.
Oh,
I think that would have been something to see. Yes.
And it would. And let me tell you something. If they were in the same era, it wouldn't have been a 1-match thing. It would have been a whole program, all different types of matches. Could you imagine like a ladder match with them?
Bro, a young Jeff Hardy versus a young Shawn Michaels, man, would have been something to watch.
Yes.
And then my last one, I gotta be careful with this one. So it can go any way. My last one I want to say is Stone Cold versus Ted DiBiase.
Really? Oh, wait a minute. That actually makes sense.
But yes, because he bought Stone Cold he was ringmaster, but I'm talking about Stone Cold 97, 98, 99 Stone Cold versus Ted DiBiase.
Makes sense, though. I mean, like, he was anti-establishment. He was anti the millionaire, anti the authority. You know what I mean? Like, I could totally see there's so many ways they can go with that. There's so many angles you could do with that.
Yes. Or an honorable mention who I kind of think they were the same character. Actually, I have 2 honorable mentions. Stone Cold versus Roddy Piper.
I'm down.
That would have been epic. Stone Cold versus Bad News Brown. I do kind of think they're the same, but I think it would have been a good.
Wow, that's not something that was ever going to be on my radar. But gimmick wise, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
You thought about that, man. You thought about that.
All right, I have one more.
Sure.
We're going to go best finishers. Top 5 best finishers of all time. Obviously, I know you have 2 or 3 in your head already.
Yeah.
Give me your top 5 best wrestling finishers.
All right, so stunner. I mean, I don't know how anybody could not have the stunner on there. Beautiful. Listen, and if you watch the original stunner that he would do in WCW, wasn't it? The WWF stunner, the kick in the gut, and the way he would like fluidly just turn around and bring you down. So good. Always loved Sweet Chin Music. How could you not? Like tuning up the band, stomping that foot. So good. Probably going to get a lot of shit for this one. The People's Elbow, man. It might be silly. It might be silly, but it's not about what the move actually does. It's about the theatrics of it and the build-up, the emotion, standing there, kicking the leg in, slowly taking off the elbow pad, throwing it in, staring into the crowd. It's like so taunting to everybody involved, not just your opponent, but the crowd and the audience at home. It was just like, man, and then he's running those ropes, jumping over your lifeless body before he just drops a cocky elbow where he brings the leg around. It was so theatric and so heelish. And I don't think anybody in wrestling history could have pulled that off better than The Rock did. Also, again, I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan. I love Sister Abigail. When he's taking them, he's holding them over his knee by the head. The way that you hold a baby, and then he kisses their forehead before he just slams their skull into the mat. It's like, dude, that is like poetry in motion right there, brother.
Yeah.
Poetry in motion. And now this is where the hard part comes, right? The hard part is always that last one. But you want to say things like Macho Man's elbow drop, but it was just, to me, like it was just an elbow drop, right? You want to say things like Goldberg's jackhammer. But what I'm about to say,
let me hear it,
is going to be controversial.
Okay.
The man that I believe had and has the best frog splash, D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown's frog splash was
the lowdown.
And I'm sure I'm going to get some for that. But, dude, I love the D'Lo. And he got so deep. Those arms went, his legs went all the way up to his shoulders. And he just opened up, boom, right onto his opponent every time. Everybody gives the best frog splash to Eddie. I'm sorry, rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. He's a great, great wrestler. He's a legend. I think D'Lo's frog splash was better.
I might have to give you, that's a good one. D'Lo, lowdown, okay.
Love D'Lo.
Best finishers. I'm going to go with the stunner.
You got it. Right off the top, we both know.
You got to. I'm going to go with the sharpshooter.
That was lurking, man. But I was like, oh, man, I got to go with D'Lo.
I'm going to go with the diamond cutter. Okay? The RKO. But, every fans know that is the diamond cutter. All right? Diamond cutter.
Because he says RKO out of nowhere. But if you remember, DDP used to always say, the reason I picked this move is because I can do it anywhere out of nowhere.
Nowhere.
That came from DDP.
Yes. I'm going to say 369.
Okay.
The next one, I'm going to go DDT. Jake Roberts' DDT was so crisp. It was so crisp how he would put it on there and just, it was coming. After that short clothesline, you knew that DDT was coming after that.
Yeah. And we're so spoiled. We see that shit all the time, right? But back then, it was just Jake.
It was just Jake. And then my last one, this took me some time, but it makes sense. I feel like if I don't put this in the top 5, I'll be disrespecting him. I'm going to say the Tombstone.
Yeah.
Now, I would say his earlier Tombstones are better.
You think so?
Because they were so bad. Like they looked like they were hurting the other person. So
they would kill somebody.
Yeah. So it looked better for me. Right? I mean, we're kind of all messed up in the head when we're kids. So it looked better to me. Right? I would say his one that he does now is more safer. That original Tombstone where he put the two legs by his shoulder and dropped it. That was my favorite for sure.
See, that's why I lean towards the newer one. I feel like it's refined, it's clean, it's very theatric. The original, you're right, it was brutal. It was legitimately scary. Like if you go back and you watch when he faced Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka's head, his head disappears, dude. I'm like, oh my god, I think he killed him.
Yeah. He talks about it on his podcast. 6 Feet Under. He talks about when he did the Tombstone to Coco Beware when he first came in the Survivor Series of 1990. He talks about how he used it and how he was surprised Coco didn't get hurt. Yeah, crazy, man. But man, that the beginning Tombstone for me was one of my favorites. I know I said this was the last one, but I had to pick your brain one more time,
All right,
man.
let's do one last one.
We'll do one last one, and you're gonna give me your best heels. 5 of the best wrestling heels.
That's tough because like sometimes people blur the lines, but I think a number one or two has to be Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I don't see how it couldn't be. To go from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood, and you could think whatever you want about him now. He's not the same person now. I don't attach the person to the character. So I'm looking at this from a character standpoint. To go from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hulk Hogan, where he was wrestling, he was adored, to completely hated. Like, not everybody can do that in the snap of fingers, and he did. Yeah. Man, this is tough. See, I want to say Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I never looked at him as a heel. He had heel characteristics. But to me, he was our hero. He was the anti-hero.
Because he spoke our mind. He said things that we wanted to say, but we couldn't.
Yeah, so I don't even know if I can put him on there. Heel Rock, though, dude, Nation of Domination, Corporate Rock, it was like
Final Boss. I like
it. Dude, he's great. Man. Oh, without question, Mr. McMahon. Again, say what you want about Vince McMahon as the person, but the character Mr. McMahon, everybody hated him.
Yeah.
You would hear that music and you would hate the fact that you wanted to sing along to No Chance in Hell.
Yeah.
Because you hated this guy. Like that, how could he not be on there? Man, this gets so hard because there's so many people that deserve it. You know what I mean? Man, I gotta get it. It's another guy that like I just love, so I'm biased, and I'm not even sure he was fully a heel, but Bray Wyatt, dude, I loved Bray Wyatt.
That's another good one.
A cult leader, like he's creepy. He seems like he was almost like a murderer to me. Like he just seemed like somebody who was like holding people captive in the woods and just like slaughtering people. And then you know what, dude? I gotta go with Triple H.
Triple H, bro. I'm happy you said Triple H. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for that one. Okay.
No, even to this day, he's running WWE. People don't like what he's doing. He's still a heel because he don't give a shit what you think.
Yeah. Triple H he's probably, to be honest, man, he's the best heel for me. So I would put Triple H at number 1. I'm gonna say the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker.
That at number 2. I was toying with that one because I love Ministry Taker. Ministry Taker does not get the love that he deserves. First of all,
no, he doesn't.
That dude, the goatee, the hood, the music, the symbol.
Yeah. By the way, one of the best theme songs. By the way, I
don't think people remember it because they're so used to like the typical Taker song. But no, man, that music you can vibe to that too.
Yeah, you can vibe to it. Yo, trust me, I had it on my playlist in the gym. Ravishing Rick Rude would be number 3.
Money.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan. How can I forget that? Hogan changed the game, man.
Even if you don't like him, you got to acknowledge, man. Ooh, speaking of acknowledge,
go ahead.
Roman's a great heel, man.
Roman is a great heel. I was gonna put him at number 5, but I'm gonna talk about Hollywood Hulk Hogan, man. What we saw at Bash to the Beach in '96 when he dropped that leg, I still go back and watch that clip till this day, and it gives me the chills. Like, I never liked Hogan, but just to see him switch characters like that and do it so well.
Yep.
Right? Me personally, yes, we all remember the red and the yellow, right? But I think Hollywood was even greater than that and the impact it had in that short amount of time. Yep. So he has to be on everybody's heel list.
See, I'm the same way, man. I was not like a Hogan head Like, when you ask me, like, who was the first wrestler that made you fall in love? Like, even though I grew up with Hulk Hogan as the guy, he was never my guy. I had his
Yeah.
figures, you know what I mean? I appreciated what he represented, but he was never my guy. Hollywood Hulk Hogan, though, I was like, oh man, I like this.
Yeah,
Like,
he was different, man.
I personally felt, and some people might not like this, but I felt like Hulk Hogan, WWF Hulk Hogan, felt like it was the same shit over and over and over again. The same promo, the same look, the same T-shirt, the same. It was just nothing ever changed for 10 years. It's like, of course we're gonna get sick of it.
Right, and I think you saw it at WrestleMania 9, right? I think probably one of the, and some people I might get flack for this. WrestleMania 9 is probably one of the worst WrestleManias I've seen. 11 is like in second place, but
listen, man,
yeah,
I went
man.
to WrestleMania 15, and that's a pretty bad one too.
You went to 15?
Yeah, I went to 15 in Philly.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, the ending wasn't bad. Austin versus Rock was good.
That's what
But
I went for.
yeah. But bro, Hogan, like you're right about Hogan. Like Hogan had this time, right, from 84 until I would say like 92 where he was the man.
Yes.
But there comes a point in time where wrestling starts to change, and the fact that he wasn't able to do that in the WWF and the way he left was kind of selfish. But I think him translating to Hollywood Hogan and leaving the WWF and like getting into a different character when he got there, I thought that was the biggest savior to his career.
100%.
I think if he would have kept that gimmick, I think he wouldn't have been talked about.
He would have faded.
Yes, he would have faded. So I have one more. And my last heel, I put Triple H on there already. My last heel is going to be the Big Show.
Wow.
That came out of nowhere, bro. The Big Show is
I just didn't see it coming.
He is the best big man heel. He's like his sense of humor. I always thought when he was a heel, I always thought he put on the best matches. I think he works better against the crowd than with the crowd. Some of his best runs, man, when he was the title holder, he was a part of the corporate ministry. When he was in the NWO, some of his greatest matches came as a heel. So I would definitely say the Big Show would definitely be number 5 for me.
See, I think the reason that like I'm so shocked is because when I think Big Show, I think more modern Big Show because I feel like he spent more of his career in that like older, bald look.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look back at like the Giant and early Big Show with the long hair, and he was massive, like he was thick and
yeah, he was.
He was a terrifying person.
He was terrifying.
Yeah, you're terrifying. Not wrong. You are not wrong.
And so athletic, doing backflips or whatever off the top rope.
Yeah, very impressive, man.
Yeah.
And then to find out that he was like smoking packs of cigarettes, nonstop. It's like, man, he was pretty damn agile.
Really? During his wrestling career?
Yeah, man. Yeah, in WCW, sometimes they would have him smoking cigarettes and stuff. And like apparently he was a big cigarette smoker. It's like, man, if he can move like that as a big man and he was smoking, like that's an athlete.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. I did not know that. Yeah, that's news to my ears. I knew they were like heavy drinkers, some of the wrestlers, and doing drugs, but I did not know that. Yeah, man. Bro, I want to say thank you for coming on the show.
My
guys,
pleasure.
Big Heel. Like I said, guys, you can check him out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Go check out his
wherever you
website.
go.
Yeah, wherever you go check out his website, heelbooks.com. He's also on Amazon, guys. All right, you guys can go check out his book, The Wrestling Action Figure Encyclopedia. Yes, there you go. It's dope. And then he's got some coloring books, guys. I'm going to be sharing the link with you guys in this episode. Big Heel, bro, it is a blessing to have you on this show. Bro, you
Happy
have
to
a
be here, man.
forever
Thank
fan,
you.
man. You have a forever fan. Just want to let you know that. And thank you for bringing the kid back in me, dog.
My
Thank you so
pleasure,
much for
man.
coming on the show, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Just a Thought podcast. We are out, guys.